Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Gareth. I am the Schools and Colleges Liaison Manager here at the university. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the important things your child needs to be considering between submitting their UCAS application and starting university. So very much their next steps. If there's anybody watching that's a parent of a first year student that's interested in potentially joining the university next year, then this is basically what's going to happen at this point next year onwards. If you do have any questions at the end, please pop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So your son or daughter has applied. What happens next? What important things do they need to be thinking about between now and the start of their university journey? I'll be talking about, in particular, their offers that they're going to get, their choice of firm and insurance, student finance, what additional financial help is out there for them, accommodation, budgeting, and top tips as well. So let's have a look at these in a little bit more detail. So when they receive their decisions back from the universities, get them to double check as they come in to make sure that they fully understand them. If it's an offer, it should be conditional. Do they think they meet the conditions of that offer? A small minority may be unconditional, where they are accepted regardless of grades, as some universities are still offering those. We at Lincoln, though, make conditional offers. If they don't understand the decision, get them to call or email the university in question for clarification, particularly if it's a reject. A reject could be as simple as a missed qualification on their application, for instance, which can be rectified, but the university will tell them why they've been rejected. Once your child gets all their offers or decisions back from the universities they've applied to, they will be required by UCAS to choose a firm and insurance choice. This is assuming they have applied for 2 or more courses. If they've only applied for 1 course and 1 only, which they can do, it automatically becomes their firm choice. So firm is the university your child will go to if they meet the entry requirements on results day. Insurance is their backup, the one on results day. If they don't meet the requirements from their original firm choice, it drops to the insurance. If the conditions are met for the insurance, it then becomes their firm choice on results day. I hope that makes sense. Ideally, get them to think about the insurance choice too, as it's preferential for them to have a lower entry requirement. Otherwise, if it's the same as their firm, and sometimes it's not always possible to have one that's lower, they may reject as well, and your child would be put into clearing. Here at Lincoln, we put students at the heart of everything that we do, and in response to the challenges students are currently facing, we have introduced a flexible admissions process, like a safety net wrapped around their offer this year. This means we will consider your child's best work to ensure we are being fair and to take account of the impact the pandemic has had on their learning and outcomes. Therefore, when confirming a place at the university, we will take a flexible approach across the majority of our programs. Exceptions tend to be NHS related. All the students we make offers to are those we feel would be a definite asset to our community, and we want to reduce concerns amongst them and their families about the impact of the pandemic on their futures. So when we receive confirmation of your child's results, we will consider both their actual and predicted grades alongside their personal statement and reference. We will guarantee their place if they meet either of the following criteria. Their confirmed grades are no more than 16 UCAS tariff points below their conditions of their offer, or their predicted grades are no more than 16 UCAS tariff points below the conditions of their offer. Subject-specific requirements may still need to be met though. If they've applied for more than 2 courses After choosing firm and insurance, the rest are rejected by UCAS on the student's behalf. Your child will need to check UCAS track on a regular basis. It's there that they will be informed of the date that they need to make that firm and insurance choice by, so the deadline that UCAS set. Miss that date and UCAS will reject them all by default. If it does happen to your child that they get rejected by default, it isn't the end of the world. Their firm and insurance choice universities will reinstate them. But it's very, very stressful for them and therefore likely to be stressful for you because they've missed those dates and they should have been aware. But it also is more work for the universities. So make sure that they keep on track and they understand that there is a deadline looming and they're needing to meet it. Student finance as well is probably the second most important thing your child will need to do in going to university. The application cycle has opened, so get them to start applying. They don't need to wait until their firm choice is decided either. The loans that they receive through Student Finance England are essentially two separate pots of money, but students apply for them both at the same time. You need to push them to apply as quickly as possible, as Student Finance England also set a deadline. That deadline this year is the 22nd of May. If students meet the deadline with all the information that Student Finance England needs, it guarantees to have their funding in place when they start. Why do I keep pushing start as soon as they possibly can? Last year, Student Finance England told us that 50% of the students left it until after the deadline had passed before starting their application. Some were still waiting for their money in November of 2020. So pot 1 is the tuition fee loan. It's not means tested, so they get what they ask for, up to a maximum of £9,250, and it's paid directly to the institution by Student Finance England on their behalf. It doesn't as well just pay for someone to teach your child. Although it's called tuition fee, it pays for more than that. It pays for the teaching facilities they're taught in and all the learning resources that they will use on campus and have access to. Personally, I would always apply for the maximum amount of tuition fee loan. Why? Because of the way the loans are repaid. The amount your child repays is not based on the amount they've borrowed, but on how much they earn. As of the 6th of April this year, for instance, someone earning £30,000 per annum would pay back just £20.74 a month off their combined loans. So the combined loan is pot 1, the tuition fee, and pot 2, the maintenance loan. So this maintenance loan pays towards everything else: rent, food, bills, social life, and transport, for instance. This time it is means tested. So the amount a student gets is dependent on where they study, live while studying, and most importantly, the household income of the home that they're living in. There is a guaranteed minimum amount, though, that everyone gets, regardless of household income. Above that, the means testing comes into effect. So whatever that your child's circumstances, a student is guaranteed to get something. So what are the figures this year? The maximum award varies from £7,987 to £12,382, depending on where they study, live while studying, and to get those figures, they must have a household income when assessed of £25,000 or less. Equally, the minimum guaranteed figures vary from £3,516 to £6,166, again dependent on the three factors just mentioned. However, this time there isn't a flat level playing field. The household assessed income varies. It varies from just over £58,000 for somebody living at home and travelling on a daily basis to £70,000 just over for someone studying in London and living away from home. It's also paid into their bank account this time in 3 equal instalments, and they can use the money as they see fit. They may already have a bank account, but I would advise your child to look for a student bank account and possibly have two, a normal one and a student one running alongside it. With regard to the student bank account, they are ideal to look for because they have really strong overdraft facilities, lots of incentives, good interest rates to repay the money back if they go into an overdraft. So it is worth looking to see what there are out there and to see if it's suitable for them. Equally, there's lots of additional help out there for your child financially. It can come from a range of sources, including Student Finance England itself, universities, and other organisations. Student Finance England in particular have grants to help those with disabilities, childcare needs, dependent adults, and students who have an overseas placement as part of their course. More information on these can be found on the gov.uk Student Finance website. Likewise, all universities will support students through scholarships and bursaries, so check what's being offered. Here at the University of Lincoln, we have a large number of scholarships and bursaries, including 4 new scholarships, each worth £5,000. These are to help cover costs as students continue their education at degree level. For budding scientists, 1 scholarship will be awarded to a new student on the computer science degree, and another to a student studying either biology or zoology. Likewise, to help students, more mature students, access to higher education, 1 scholarship will be awarded to a student aged over 21 at the start of their course, studying either English or history, and the final one goes to a mature student studying either psychology or law. All the new scholarships have been supported through a donation by the university's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Mary Stewart, CBE, and more details about all our scholarships and bursaries can be found on our website, lincoln.ac.uk. There's also, particularly for those going into the NHS, the new £5,000 a year NHS bursaries for nursing, midwifery, and some allied health professions, including paramedics. It's the government's way of dangling a carrot on the stick to try and encourage people to go into these professions. Some students even may be eligible for more. If they are, this will be calculated through their main application for the £5,000, and they get this on top of everything else that they can apply for. When looking for additional support financially, wherever it may be, your child needs to check the application process for all of them. When, how, and even do they need to apply for it? It will depend on where they are looking. The best bit is that all of this is non-repayable, except for the help for students studying abroad through Student Finance England. That is added to their overall combined loans when they're calculated for repayment purposes. Another really important area is accommodation. If your child is looking to move away from home for their university education, then accommodation is something else that should be high on their and your priority list. Again, it needs doing sooner than later, as most universities allocate on a first-come, first-served basis. Get your child to start looking at options for all the institutions they've applied to. Or if they are pretty sure they're firm and insurance choice, look at those as a minimum. Application cycles for accommodation vary from university to university and can be quite competitive depending on the amount of accommodation the university has to offer. It can also be competitive depending on what your child wants to do. Options include things like self-catered halls, half board, full board, en suite, or even shared housing. Here at Lincoln, we offer self-catered accommodation, with the vast majority being en suite, and all are within easy walking distance of the campus. Whether they can apply for accommodation may also be determined on the basis of making their university their firm or insurance choice. It certainly is here at Lincoln. When they do make that choice, get your child to think about applying for accommodation at those universities straight away, or as soon as the accommodation cycle opens, or at least check it and find out more. Knowing exactly where a student will live at university is important, not just for them, but for you, their families too. At Lincoln, we know that finding the right place to live is an essential part of your child's student's experience. We aim to help our students find their home from home. This is why we've made a guarantee for accommodation for new undergraduates starting in 2021. We guarantee a room at university residence to all new students who apply for accommodation by the 1st of September. So they don't need to worry about finding a suitable room elsewhere, and all our university managed accommodation is covered by our residential warden scheme. Equally, allocation of accommodation is not normally done by universities until results day. So it may be some time between your child applying and hearing from the chosen university as to exactly what they've got. This is normal, so don't panic, as universities cannot allocate until they know for sure you are coming. All I've talked about so far is really important. So they may benefit, and you for that matter, by making a to-do list or a priority list of important things which can be crossed off as they're done. Likewise, budgeting. The vast majority of students, when they attend university, will have a finite pot of money to live off. Before your child goes to university, it's worth spending time with them working out how much they will spend a week or a month on rent, other bills, transport, food and social life, etc. Get them to think about budgeting. This is what the maintenance loan is there to help with specifically, admittedly, but if you are not sure what they're likely to get from the maintenance loan, there is various student finance calculators that they and you can put in the details that they're asking for to give you a rough estimate. The gov.uk student finance site has one. Martin Lewis, the money saving expert, and others can be found on the internet as well. It gives a rough estimate, but it gives them and you an idea. Equally, just get them to plan and do a food shop for you. It's all good experience of how much things really cost. Having done the budgeting dry run, if there is likely to be a shortfall between what they get and what they need to spend, how can they improve their odds to bring it back in their favour? The bank of mum and dad is one option, but certainly not open to all. A part-time job is another. There are normally plenty of opportunities as a student to get a part-time job once they're here. Or if they already have one, they can potentially transfer. Lots of big companies allow this. Teaching is also normally flexible enough to allow students to have a part-time job. A part-time job opportunity could come from the university itself. All universities use student ambassadors, and Lincoln is no exception. They assist us with open days, on-campus visits, mail shots, external events, and much more. It's paid in one form or another. Certainly here it's paid. And it's great for their CV and confidence and independence building. The final one for them to consider is discounts. An NUS or recognised student card will get them discounts wherever they go, be it retail, cinema, restaurants or more. It saves them a lot of money, could be up to 25% of wherever they go and spend that money. Equally, things like travelling by train a lot, make sure they get a student rail card, 33% off fares. It's a no-brainer really. Some people can actually recoup the amount that they spent on a student rail card in one journey. Just get them to check and remember these additional funding opportunities too that I've talked about already. Lots of ways your son or daughter could get extra money. So my top tips basically are planning the next steps as we've looked at is key for your child in the run up to starting university once they've applied, as there are lots of deadlines that they need to hit and will be consequences for them if they don't. Applying for finance, that potential additional financial support, firm and insurance choices and accommodation are the ones they and you need to be aware of in particular. And as I've said, that to-do list is a great way of planning and reminding them. Make sure they keep a regular track on UCAS Track, and it will tell them all they need to know about the progress of their applications and what they need to do next. Budgeting is that essential skill that they need to learn and learn quickly, so you can help and advise if you think they need it. If they have a part-time job, is there a possibility that they can transfer that location? Fast food chains, particularly McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, all these sorts of places like that, and large retail shops and supermarkets are normally happy for students to do this. They, or you as well, should never be afraid to ask a question, no matter how silly or trivial it may seem. There are so many ways to do it. Here at Lincoln, you can ask through our social media accounts, live link-ups, email, phone, through Unibuddy, direct to a student, and even post. Whichever way, we'll endeavour to answer as quickly as possible. Talking of social media, why not you as parents join our parents' Facebook group and get your child to join their social media groups such as Friends for Life. Also here at Lincoln, in common with many other universities, we have a GP surgery on campus. It would be ideal for your child to transfer surgeries from their local one to the one here once they've started their course. Just so if they need to access a doctor quickly, they can do so rather than having to think, it's 4 hours away, what am I going to do? Conversely though, make sure they keep their own dentist, as we don't have one on site here, although there are emergency dental practices in the city if they need to get one urgently. And finally, more than anything, your support, guidance and interest is essential to ensure your child and you have a smooth transition into university life. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found the information helpful. I can see questions coming in, so I will ask. I will do my best to answer. Just bear with me a second, please. What about the marketing jobs in the UK? Akshay, with regard to what? What do you mean by marketing jobs? Marketing is student-wise, it would be looking at what our careers and employability team can do for them in terms of looking for part-time jobs when they get here, but also then to consider the student ambassador jobs as well. So what else have we got? I apologise, Craig, if you find our website impossible to navigate. I don't know what you were looking for, so I can't unfortunately help you in, but all I can do is apologise. Any other questions? I'd like Acpadia. I'd like information about applying as a through an independent visa. You would need to do that if you contact our international office, which is very simply email international@lincoln.ac.uk. They will be able to help you. Anybody else? If not, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this open day and have a pleasant evening. Many thanks.